We are excited to introduce the new volunteer training sessions. There are 4 new volunteer training sessions. I'm just going to preview. I'm going to pause here a second and show you a little bit about each of the new volunteer training modules or sessions. We kind of call them sessions throughout the process. So the new volunteers, upon signing up for face-to-face training, will receive an email letting them know that, hey, there's these new volunteer trainings that we would like you to go through online. You can do them on your own time. Each one is less than 15 minutes, so it should take 1 hour or less to complete all 4. These will really lay the foundation for their training prior to going to their face-to-face training, which has now been able to be cut down from 6 face-to-face training hours to 3, with the inclusion of these volunteer training sessions that they will take online. So the first one, as you see, will really cover kind of the basics, introducing them to 4-H volunteer, giving them kind of the learning objectives, covering the mission, the vision, the connection, as well as learning about the 4-H equation. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the second new volunteer training will cover. The second new volunteer training that they will complete will be covering positive youth development and the circle of courage. The third new volunteer training session will cover ages and stages of positive youth development. This will cover ages 6 to 18, so the volunteers will learn all about kind of learning styles, physical, emotional, social, intellectual development for those ages. And the last one will be risk management. The volunteers will go through information pertaining to risk management, and they will learn all about what they need to know as a volunteer regarding risk management, and certainly will give them insight into questions that they might have for their CYC. Okay, now that we have taken a look at what the new volunteers will go through in their 4 new volunteer training sessions, let's go ahead and log into 4-H Online and see how the new volunteers will get to and access their volunteer trainings. So I'm going to log in kind of as a fake account. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in 4-H Online. So once a new volunteer logs in, they should already be created in 4-H Online as a club leader. So they should know their email and their password. We have created tip sheets to help with this as well. So the volunteers will be able to access a help sheet that will walk them through the process, and the CYCs will have those as well. They're going to click Continue to Family. Once they do that, then they're going to go ahead and I'm going to go in as Charlotte. So as a new volunteer, I would click that edit and I would go to trainings. And then it looks like Charlotte has already completed new volunteer training session 1. So she has actually already received her certificate, but she needs to go ahead and do 2, 3, and 4. So she's going to click sign up for a training, and she's going to see all of the trainings available for a new volunteer or a volunteer. And she needs to go ahead and do new volunteer training session 2. So she's going to click sign up. And she's going to go ahead and just click into the course. Up here, she can read a little bit more about it and see that she's going to be taking session 2. And this also is going to tell her that she needs to make sure that she clicks on her certificate after completing the session, which kind of automatically happens. Once a volunteer closes out of the session, it comes right back to the screen, and this time their certificate will be just below the new volunteer training session link. So I'm just going to show you a little preview of what she's going to see. So each of the new volunteer trainings starts with this opener.
Volunteer training. Welcome to session 2.
We created these openers using VideoScribe, so it's a fun little media file where the new volunteer gets to see, again, as you saw earlier, what it is that they're going to learn about and what the learning objectives are going to be. So hopefully Charlotte is learning all about the learning objectives, and she's looking forward to beginning her training session. The nice thing about creating these little intro slides is that it's kind of that familiarity for the new volunteer. As they go through each training session, they kind of know how it's going to start and they know what the next step is.
The Iowa 4-H Positive Youth Development Experience is outlined in the 4-H equation that you learned about in Session 1. We will continue to build our
In each of the new volunteer training sessions, the volunteer will be able to read what's being said on the side under the notes area, while they also are able to view and listen. This will allow us to make sure we're reaching everyone. If you do have trouble with hearing the audio, they're certainly able to read the script on the side.
It is clear that youth whose needs are met in positive ways.
So these first two slides have been automatic. The user hasn't had to do anything to advance, or there's not been any interaction. But now, from this point on, in this volunteer training session, the volunteer or the learner will need to go ahead and click next. Once they click next, they start the next slide right away. Some of these slides will have interaction as in moving parts coming in and out. We'll see the zoom effect right now, where we kind of zoom in as we talk more about the circle of courage. We'll see zooming out. And again, the user will need to go ahead and click next to continue. So now Charlotte needs to go ahead and click next to advance, and she's going to continue learning about the circle of courage. So Charlotte wants to take a look at a different training. Maybe she doesn't want to quite finish that one, so it says it's incomplete. It won't allow her to be completed or get her certificate till she has finished it. So she's going to go up here, and she wants to take a look at new volunteer training for session 4, which is our risk management training. So she's going to click sign up. And again, she's going to go ahead and be able to start that session.
Is interactive.
All right, I wanted to show you just another little clip. You've seen a little bit of new volunteer training session 2. I also wanted to show you just a little bit of a more interactive slide. So you've seen the introduction slides that we use. And then this is the new volunteer training session 1. So this is after they've had their introduction slide. We've actually shown them the branding video of 4-Hers Build Iowa. And now we're really getting into learning about the mission and connection to county, Iowa State, and national. On this slide, we've done things to make it interactive. So each of these tabs, mission, national, ISU, and county, will have to be clicked on and previewed before the learner is able to advance. So I can try to click next, but that's not going to work because I need to go through and complete the interaction. So I'm going to click on mission. And this allows me to learn a little bit more about the mission. It also, again, just allows that interactivity, just that clicking keeps a user or a learner more interested in the training. So now I have to click here to return back to my base slide. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to learn about each of the pieces. So as I learn about national, I'm going to get a chance to hear that. And then again, I'm going to be able to click here to return to the base slide. So I'm going to go through each of those 4 steps before I advance to the next slide. Okay, so I've fast forwarded a bit for you and I have gone through and learned about each of those tabs information, and I'm going to click the next. And again, I have kind of some of the slides are just more visually appealing and some of them have a lot of interaction.
Iowa 4-H.
So now I wanted just to show you an example of what it looks like when they complete their volunteer training session. So Charlotte has completed new volunteer training session 1. So she's able to actually click down here and she's able to print her certificate. So she's able to pull that up. So all the volunteers will have their certificate for each one of the trainings. We also are able to go into 4-H Online and see if the volunteers have completed all 4 training sessions. So our goal really is to make sure and encourage the volunteers to complete these 4 training sessions prior to attending the face-to-face training. We have some email templates created that we can send out, just reminding the volunteers about the trainings, letting them know that they'll want to complete those, and then offering help. Certainly we'll have the tip sheet available for them if they need any help, but they can also be able to contact either their CYC or the state office if they're running into any trouble. So that pretty much walks you through the new volunteer training process, where they're located, and a little bit of an overview of what they look like.